Iceman. Bobby Drake is an Omega-level mutant because his power over cold and moisture is effectively limitless. He doesn't just generate ice, he manipulates water in all its forms at a molecular level. This means he can freeze the atmosphere, oceans, and even the fluids inside a living body. He has regenerated himself after being shattered, reconstituting from vapor, which makes him nearly impossible to kill. Iceman has demonstrated the ability to freeze entire cities, manipulate global weather patterns, and even shut down hell itself by extinguishing its fire with absolute zero temperatures. His control extends to creating ice constructs, teleporting through water vapor, and manifesting multiple sentient ice duplicates. What defines his Omega status is the absence of any upper limit. Moisture is everywhere, and therefore his influence can extend across the entire planet. Elixir. Joshua Foley's Omega status comes from his total control over biological structure at the cellular and genetic level. His power goes far beyond healing surface wounds. He can reprogram organic matter entirely. With a touch, he can cure diseases, repair catastrophic injuries, or reverse death itself by jump-starting cellular function. His powers extend equally in the opposite direction. He can shut down organs, nervous systems, or entire bodies in seconds. Elixir manifests two modes. His golden form represents healing and regeneration, while his black form represents death and decomposition. In this state, he operates with surgical precision, dismantling biology with terrifying efficiency. His presence on Krakoa is critical because he is part of the Five, the mutant collective responsible for resurrection protocols, making him a cornerstone of mutant immortality. His Omega classification is based on the principle that no other mutant equals or exceeds his scope of control over living systems. Hope Summers. Hope Summers is classified as Omega because of her unrestricted power mimicry. Unlike mutants who can temporarily borrow or replicate powers at diminished strength, Hope copies abilities at their full potential and amplifies them. When she is near another mutant, she can manifest their power instantly, often wielding it with greater finesse than the original user. On the battlefield, this makes her a one-woman army, capable of becoming the sum total of every mutant around her. Her importance expanded during the events of Avengers vs. X-Men, when she successfully bonded with the Phoenix Force and reignited the dormant X gene worldwide, restoring the mutant population after Scarlet Witch's decimation. On Krakoa, she serves as the stabilizer within the Five, ensuring resurrection protocols succeed by synchronizing the other's powers. Her Omega designation rests on the fact that no limit exists to what she can duplicate. Standing near multiple Omega mutants effectively turns her into all of them at once. Jean Grey. Jean Grey is an Omega-level telepath whose mental power has no definable ceiling. From her teenage years, she was already capable of telepathic feats that rivaled Charles Xavier, but as she matured, her abilities expanded to global and even interstellar scales. She can read, project, and manipulate thoughts across continents, create psychic links with entire populations, and reconstruct damaged or fragmented minds. Even without the Phoenix Force, Jean has demonstrated the ability to shut down armies, resist psychic assaults from cosmic beings, and stabilize fractured realities within the astral plane. When bonded with the Phoenix, her powers transcend mutation, reaching universal destruction and recreation, but her Omega status as a telepath exists independently of that cosmic amplification. The official classification recognizes that no other mutant can surpass her in the domain of telepathy. She represents its ultimate expression, Legion. David Haller, the son of Charles Xavier, is designated an Omega-level mutant because of his virtually infinite potential. His mutation gives him the ability to manifest countless powers, each linked to a distinct alternate personality within his fractured mind. One persona may wield time manipulation, another reality warping, another pyrokinesis, or telepathy, each fully developed and functionally unique. Unlike other mutants whose abilities are confined to a single domain, Legion embodies multiple Omegas at once, with no measurable limit to how many abilities he can access. The danger is instability. His personalities emerge unpredictably, making his power set volatile and uncontrollable. He has rewritten history, created alternate realities, and accidentally triggered the Age of Apocalypse by killing his father in the past. What secures his Omega classification is not only the scope of his powers, but the fact that no other mutant can rival his breadth of capability across multiple categories of mutation. Magneto. Eric Lehnsherr is classified as an Omega-level mutant because of his absolute mastery over magnetism and the electromagnetic spectrum. His power is not limited to bending metal. He manipulates magnetic fields at a planetary scale, influencing gravity, tectonic activity, and radiation. He has reversed Earth's magnetic poles, pulled asteroids into orbit, and generated protective shields capable of withstanding nuclear detonations. Magneto can sense and manipulate the iron in blood, disrupt neural activity, and control or disable virtually all electronic systems. His reach extends from microscopic interactions with atoms to reshaping celestial mechanics, while his political and ideological role has shifted over decades from revolutionary to Krakoan statesman. His Omega classification reflects the fact that his control over magnetism is without rival. No other mutant can equal or exceed him in this domain, making his power a constant factor in both the survival and potential dominance of mutant kind. Proteus. Kevin McTaggart earns his Omega-level classification through his unlimited ability to warp reality. Unlike mutants who manipulate specific forces or matter, Proteus alters the fundamental rules of existence itself. He can restructure physics, twist space and time, and transform environments into surreal, unstable landscapes. His limitation is biological. His energy form burns through host bodies rapidly, forcing him to constantly seek new vessels to survive. Despite this weakness, his power scale is unmatched in its category. He has turned entire regions into nightmarish dreamscapes and reduced even veteran X-Men to confusion and fear, since conventional attacks lose coherence in his shifting reality. On Krakoa, his abilities were repurposed for creation rather than destruction. As one of the five, he uses his reality warping to generate fresh biological husks for resurrection. His Omega status is defined by his unique and absolute supremacy over reality manipulation within mutant kind. Quentin Quire. Quentin Quire, also known as Kid Omega, is recognized as an Omega-level telepath. His classification stems from the limitless ceiling of his psychic potential. Even as a teenager, he displayed the ability to manipulate the minds of large groups, erase memories, and project complex illusions indistinguishable from reality. Unlike other telepaths, his power manifests with unusual flexibility. He has created independent psychic constructs, built a sentient version of Cerebro, and even engaged directly with the Phoenix Force on the astral plane without disintegration. His consciousness persists beyond death, allowing him to re-inhabit cloned bodies, giving him a functional form of immortality. Though often reckless and rebellious, Quentin's output regularly challenges or exceeds the capabilities of veteran telepaths like Charles Xavier and Emma Frost. His Omega status is defined by the fact that no upper boundary exists to what he can achieve in the realm of telepathy, making him one of mutant kind's most dangerous assets despite his youth. Storm. Ororo Munroe is designated Omega level because her control over weather and atmospheric forces is limitless in scope and precision. She manipulates temperature, pressure, humidity, and wind patterns at molecular and planetary levels. This extends from localized lightning strikes to global climate alteration. She has generated hurricanes, blizzards, droughts, and tornadoes on command, and has even terraformed alien worlds to make them habitable. Her powers extend beyond simple weather. She can alter atmospheric pressure to suffocate opponents, disperse pollutants, and shield herself in space by regulating air and body temperature. Storm's perception of the environment functions like a living weather system. She senses meteorological changes across continents in real time. Her Omega classification arises from the fact that no other mutant can surpass her in the manipulation of weather and the atmosphere. In practice, her restraint and discipline define her as much as her power, because her full, unchecked capacity could destabilize the planet itself. Vulcan. Gabriel Summers, known as Vulcan, is classified as an Omega-level mutant because of his total command over energy in nearly all its forms. He can absorb, generate, and manipulate light, heat, electricity, radiation, and even exotic forces such as magical and psionic energy. His adaptability allows him to quickly learn and weaponize unfamiliar forms of power, making his growth curve effectively exponential. Vulcan has drained stars, unleashed energy bursts on a galactic scale, and reshaped battlefields by nullifying or amplifying the powers of others. He has fought beings such as Black Bolt on equal footing, with their clash tearing open space itself. Unlike many energy manipulators, his power reservoir is not externally limited. His capacity scales with what he absorbs and redirects, giving him no definable ceiling. His Omega classification reflects his absolute supremacy over energy, a domain in which no other mutant has demonstrated equal mastery or versatility. Jamie Braddock. Jamie Braddock, the elder brother of Brian and Betsy Braddock, is an Omega-level mutant whose power lies in reality, manipulation at a fundamental level. He perceives the universe as if it were a tapestry of strings, each thread representing the laws of physics, matter, and causality. By pulling, knotting, or severing these strings, he alters reality to his whim. This can manifest as reshaping environments, warping bodies, or rewriting probability itself. Unlike Proteus, whose reality warping burns through physical vessels, Jamie's powers are not limited by hosts, though his unstable mind makes their application unpredictable and often grotesque. He has turned people into puppets, reversed catastrophic injuries, and changed the course of events on a multiversal scale. On Krakoa, his abilities position him as both a weapon and a wildcard, since his fractured psyche makes him unreliable. His Omega status is defined by his unrivaled capacity to manipulate reality through string theory perception, a domain no other mutant can equal. Mr. M. Absalon Mercator, known as Mr. M, is classified as an Omega-level mutant for his limitless control over matter and energy at the atomic and subatomic scale. His power allows him to transmute substances, heal injuries, phase through solid structures, and unleash destructive blasts by destabilizing molecular bonds. Unlike mutants with narrower molecular abilities, Mr. M's control is comprehensive. He can manipulate living and non-living matter alike, extending his influence to both organic tissue and inorganic environments. He has revived the dead, neutralized technological threats, and effortlessly dismantled weapons at a glance. His role in Mutant Town highlighted his godlike aura, as residents treated him as a messianic figure capable of miracles. On Krakoa, his presence ensures that any threat involving matter or energy falls within his jurisdiction, since there is no ceiling to how far his manipulation can extend. His Omega designation acknowledges that no mutant can surpass him in the mastery of matter. Exodus. Bennett Duparis, known as Exodus, is an Omega-level mutant whose abilities combine telekinesis, telepathy, immortality, and vast energy manipulation. His power is magnified by his unshakable conviction in mutant supremacy, meaning the stronger his belief, the stronger his output. Exodus has demonstrated telekinetic feats on a massive scale, such as levitating an aircraft carrier and using it as a weapon, restraining entire armies mid-strike, and dueling Magneto and Rachel Summers on equal footing. His telepathic capacity allows him to dominate or dismantle the minds of opponents, while his regenerative and near-immortal physiology makes him extraordinarily difficult to eliminate. On Krakoa, Exodus sits on the Quiet Council, shaping mutant governance while simultaneously acting as a zealot who indoctrinates younger mutants with his beliefs. His Omega status is grounded in his virtually limitless telekinetic potential. No other mutant surpasses him in the manipulation of physical force through psychic will. Madelyne Pryor, Goblin Queen. Madelyne Pryor is a clone of Jean Grey created by Mr. Sinister from Jean's DNA. While she began as a genetic duplicate, her transformation into the Goblin Queen elevated her into a reality-warping powerhouse. Unlike Jean, whose powers were rooted in telepathy and telekinesis, Madelyne's abilities were magnified through demonic magic. This fusion of mutant potential and sorcery granted her the ability to alter reality, summon and command demons, and manipulate both the physical and astral planes. She has healed wounds, restored life to the dead, and warped environments into twisted hellscapes. Her telepathic strength allows her to influence minds, but her sorcery makes her unpredictable, able to bypass the usual limits of psychic defense. While her powers don't always manifest with the same scale as Jean's, the demonic amplification ensures that her potential is virtually limitless. Madelyne represents a hybrid of mutant evolution and supernatural corruption, making her one of the most dangerous Omega-level figures in Marvel's multiverse. Stryfe. Stryfe is a clone of Nathan Summers, Cable, created without the techno-organic virus that limited Cable's potential. As a result, Stryfe possesses unrestrained Omega-level telepathy and telekinesis. His psychic power mirrors Jean Grey's in scale, allowing him to dominate minds, project delusions, and launch devastating psionic assaults. His telekinesis extends to subatomic manipulation, meaning he could, in theory, restructure matter at will if he achieved full mastery. In battle, he has single-handedly fought and held off opponents such as Apocalypse, Cable, Bishop, Hope Summers, and entire X-Force teams simultaneously. What makes Stryfe particularly dangerous is not just his raw power, but his complete lack of the psychic restraints Cable had to maintain against the virus. Stryfe's limitations are psychological. He has never fully developed cosmic awareness to exploit his potential at its peak. If he ever did, his telekinesis alone could allow him to reorder matter and energy across the planet, placing him firmly in the class of mutants whose abilities have no definable upper boundary. X-Man Nate Gray. Nate Gray, often called X-Man, is the genetically perfect version of Cable, engineered without the techno-organic virus and born from the DNA of Jean Grey and Scott Summers. He is one of the most powerful mutants ever created, surpassing even his genetic parents. Nate possesses Omega-level telepathy and telekinesis, but his powers extend into reality warping and energy manipulation on a cosmic scale. At his peak, he transcended physical form, existing as pure psionic energy, and could reconstruct his body at will. Using a life seed, his abilities expanded to the point of of creating entire pocket universes, reshaping existence, and manifesting himself as a near deity. He has controlled and negated the powers of other mutants, altered memories, manipulated machines telepathically, and bent matter and energy without limit. Described as the ultimate mutant, Nate's potential bordered on omnipotence, with his only real limitation being the strain his powers placed on his physical body. His Omega classification reflects that no mutant can rival him in combined psionic dominance and reality manipulation. Cassandra Nova. Cassandra Nova is the Mumudrai twin of Charles Xavier, a parasitic entity born in the womb alongside him, who copied his DNA to create a physical body. Her powers mirror Xavier's, but are amplified to a terrifying degree, making her an Omega-level telepath with additional molecular control. She can enter and dominate minds, cause mental paralysis, project destructive psionic blasts, and transfer her consciousness into new hosts. Beyond telepathy, Cassandra can manipulate DNA itself, unlocking latent powers in others or restructuring their biology. This combination of genetic mastery and psychic dominance makes her capable of rewriting both body and mind. She once orchestrated the genocide of 16 million mutants in Genosha using a sentinel army she psychically manipulated into action, demonstrating the devastating scope of her abilities. Unlike Charles, her cruelty and lack of restraint push her powers to their darkest limits. Cassandra's Omega status arises from her absolute supremacy in both psychic manipulation and molecular-level genetic control, making her one of the most dangerous adversaries mutant kind has ever faced. Malloy. Malloy is one of the most extreme examples of an Omega-level mutant, with powers so vast that even Charles Xavier described him as more than Omega. His abilities manifested uncontrollably after personal tragedy, unleashing destructive forces that altered reality itself. Malloy demonstrated the power to manipulate energy, matter, time, and space on a godlike scale. He could generate explosions that leveled cities, resurrect himself after death, and casually nullify psychic assaults from telepaths of Xavier's caliber. His reality warping extended into transmutation of matter, large-scale teleportation, and energy manipulation drawn from extra-dimensional sources. Cerebro recorded him as the largest mutant power signature it had ever detected, surpassing all others in raw output. His existence posed such a threat that the only way to stop him was retroactive erasure. Tempest was sent into the past to prevent his parents from ever meeting, erasing him from history entirely. Malloy's classification as Omega comes from the absence of any limits in his mutation, which encompassed life, death, and reality itself. Isca the Unbeaten. Isca the Unbeaten is an ancient Iraqi mutant whose Omega-level gift is absolute victory. Her power ensures that she cannot lose, regardless of the contest, whether in combat, games of chance, political struggles, or wars. Reality itself bends to guarantee her triumph. This can manifest through improbable coincidences, environmental shifts, or forced changes in allegiance to place her on the winning side. Her ability cannot be negated. Even power-dampening technologies and mutant ability suppressors fail against it. The only downside is that her victories are not necessarily aligned with her will if her current allies are doomed. Her power compels her to switch sides to preserve her undefeated status. This makes her both invaluable and untrustworthy, as she embodies inevitability itself. Her Omega designation reflects her supremacy in conflict. No mutant or being can surpass her in the domain of winning. Tarn the Uncaring. Tarn the Uncaring, an Iraqi mutant and former member of the Great Ring of Ororo, is classified as an Omega-level genetic manipulator. His mutation grants him absolute control over DNA, allowing him to alter, enhance, or strip away mutant abilities at will. Tarn can induce mutations, reverse them, or engineer entirely new genetic traits in others. His control extends beyond superficial changes he can reach into the fundamental structure of life, rewriting individuals on a molecular level. This power makes him a living counterpart to Mr. Sinister. But unlike Sinister's reliance on science and technology, Tarn's control is innate and instantaneous. His presence in Ororo's ruling council gave him immense influence, as few could challenge his dominion over the very code of mutant biology. His Omega status is based on the fact that no other mutant can rival or exceed him in the direct manipulation of genetic potential. Genesis. Genesis, wife of Apocalypse and ruler of Ororo, is an Omega-level mutant with total command over plant and fungal life. Her powers allow her to manipulate vegetation at every scale, from massive forests to microscopic fungi. She can communicate with plants, compel them to grow or wither instantly, and weaponize them by controlling vines, roots, and spores. Her control extends into living bodies, as she can manipulate the fungal organisms within people to spy on them or kill them from the inside. Genesis is over 4,600 years old, and her strength is matched by her leadership. She once defeated Annihilation in single combat and became the host of its helm. As Apocalypse's equal, she embodies the ancient, war-forged resilience of Ororo. Her Omega classification comes from her limitless reach over plant life, making her the supreme mutant in the domain of biological vegetation and ecological control. Redroot the Forest. Redroot is an Iraqi mutant with Omega-level control over flora and ecological communication. Her powers allow her not only to manipulate plant life, but also to commune directly with the living essence of a planet. This gives her influence over entire ecosystems, extending her perception and control beyond localized vegetation to planetary-scale life systems. Redroot can command growth, accelerate decay, and weaponize organic matter against opponents. Her connection to flora also extends into symbiosis with environments. She can translate the voice of the land itself, making her both an interpreter and protector of nature. During the terraforming of Mars into planet Ororo, her abilities were instrumental in stabilizing the planet's ecosystem. Her Omega classification is based on her unparalleled dominion over plant communication and planetary ecological systems, which no other mutant can rival. Ora Serrata the Witness. Ora Serrata, also called the Witness, is an Iraqi mutant whose Omega-level power is existence erasure. By passing judgment within her role as a representative of Ororo's legal system, she can annihilate beings or objects completely from reality. The only condition for this ability to function is that the target must, in some way, acknowledge or submit to the authority of law. Once that recognition occurs, her gaze can remove them utterly, leaving no trace. Ora Serrata has used this power to enforce order among Iraqi and their enemies, embodying both executioner and living judicial force. Her ability bypasses physical durability, magical defenses, and even many forms of reality manipulation as it operates on a fundamental level of existence. Her Omega status reflects her absolute and unmatched capacity to erase beings from reality through the medium of judgment. Lodus Logos. Lodus Logos is an Iraqi mutant whose Omega-level gift is verbal metallogenesis, the power to manifest and shape metal through speech. Every word he utters can generate metallic matter, and through poetry or prose, he can refine its form with artistry and precision. While he can produce massive metallic structures for war or defense, he often chooses elegance, crafting flawless weapons such as blades or daggers shaped by the rhythm of his words. His ability combines creativity with destructive potential, turning language into a literal act of creation. In Ororo's culture, where expression and strength are intertwined, Lodus Logos embodies both artistry and dominance, commanding respect as much for his refinement as for his battlefield might. His Omega designation arises from the fact that no other mutant can equal or exceed his absolute mastery over the creation and manipulation of metal through language. Lactuca the Knower. Lactuca the Knower is an Iraqi mutant whose Omega-level ability is universal awareness. She possesses perfect spatial perception, allowing her to know the precise position of every object, person, and force in the universe. This awareness extends beyond sight. She experiences reality through the perspectives of others, effectively granting her omniscient vision. By singing to the universe, she can shape space itself, harmonizing her perception with the cosmos to alter positioning and pathways. Lactuca's gift makes her indispensable in both war and governance. She can track enemies across galaxies, guide allies unerringly, and oversee planetary-scale operations with flawless precision. Her Omega status comes from her unrivaled command of spatial awareness and cosmic connectivity. No mutant can surpass her in perceiving, knowing, and subtly shaping the universal order of space. Sobunar of the Depths. Sobunar is an Iraqi mutant whose Omega-level power is rooted in his oceanic physiology. His body contains an entire marine ecosystem, complete with its own waters, life forms, and regenerative cycles. He can release vast quantities of water from himself to create oceans, rehydrate barren worlds, or terraform entire planets. This was demonstrated during the terraforming of Mars into planet Ororo, where his powers supplied the world with functional seas and aquatic life. Sobunar's control over these waters allows him to sense and manipulate everything within them, granting him both environmental dominance and combat versatility. He is a living reservoir of planetary-scale oceans, carrying within his body the potential to seed worlds with life. His Omega classification reflects the fact that no other mutant equals his ability to generate and govern entire aquatic ecosystems. The Nameless. The Nameless was once a prominent figure on the Great Ring of Ororo, holding the position of regent during times of peace. She is an Omega-level shapeshifter whose powers extend beyond mere physical transformation. She can perfectly replicate the appearance and powers of any being she copies, automatically scaling to their prime potential. This means that in battle, she becomes the equal or superior of her opponent, reflecting both their form and abilities without limitation. Her mimicry is not superficial. It reproduces powers at their peak efficiency, making her a near unbeatable mirror of whatever she faces. Despite this, her tenure as Regent ended when Storm challenged and defeated her in combat for her seat and leadership. The Nameless Omega status is defined by her unrestricted mastery of appearance and power duplication, giving her the potential to match any mutant or entity she encounters. Kobak Never Held is an Araki mutant warrior whose Omega-level powers combine feral physiology with nearly indestructible offense. His body is covered in quill-like spines that can be launched as projectiles with devastating force, capable of piercing virtually any defense. Alongside this, he possesses immense physical strength, durability, and an animalistic combat instinct honed in the crucible of immense endless wars. Kobak grew up under demonic occupation, leading resistance alongside his lover, and rose to prominence after Arako's liberation. Following the move to Mars, he challenged Storm for a seat on the Great Ring but was defeated. Despite this, he later proved his worth by defending Ororo against Genesis's forces, earning respect as a formidable warrior. His Omega status is rooted in the lethal and limitless potential of his spines and physicality, ensuring that his role on Ororo's battlefield is one of unstoppable force. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video and want to support the channel, please like and subscribe. Here is another video from our channel you might like.